Have you ever wondered how the original Sword Art Online set would look like in modern Weiss Schwarz with the advent of Sword Art Online 10th anniversary anime set? Well, stay tuned because we're going to be talking about it in this video.
Something you never done seen, swaggy but still an MC. My guilty conscience, that bitch just keep on talking, say you're not touching the thing, you ass boys. Probably gonna sing for the moment. Fuck the police when it's me and my team. Pussy that's bad means give it like word to the 313.
What is going on, guys? This is Platinum Point, and I'm here to bring you guys yet again another Weiss Schwarz deck profile. This time it's going to be on my Sword Art Online deck. This is going to be an update of the original build with some of the new stuff from the 10th anniversary set. The reason I wanted to profile this deck first is because everybody should be aware of what's going to be the meta set off of the new 10th anniversary anime set, because there's already been a ton of videos about it. A lot of people talked about it. Burn One talked about it. PGH has been talking about it. Pittsburgh Weiss Schwarz. And even Tressa's Collectible might talk about that list, as well as the Clock Tower I've seen. So there's been a ton of lists about the meta build, but I wanted to talk about specifically the sets that the other builds that this set actually helps improve, that being the original set 1 to set 2 and re-edit with Ordinal Scale Sword Art Online, because the Avatar net trait has yet to get any decent love since practically they had to wait since Alicization Volume 2, and even then it didn't do much for the set because it only gave them a few cards. But now, thanks to the introduction of the anniversary set, it gave this deck quite a bit of resources, quite a bit of toys to play with, and I've been messing around with this deck. So the deck that I'm currently testing around is a bar choice climax combo setup with the level 1 Yuki and the level 3 Argo, as well as some other stuff. So before we begin, I'm gonna blow up the deck list right now so that way you guys can kind of see as we go along. So on the right hand side of this screen, you'll see the list broken up down to levels. So just in case you needed to know the names of the cards, I have it right there. I will also be posting the link to this deck list in the near future, so just check the pinned comments and I'll post a deck list of this. So without further ado, let's get on to the level zeros, starting off with the clean cut Time to Get Serious Kirito. So we're actually playing 4 copies of this, as this is a really good going second starter, as it allows you to kind of just freely full board at going second at level 0 and allow you to basically not only accrue stock but also save board on certain level 0s like your brainstorms. You can attack with your brainstorm, you can attack with the Amagi. So this allows you to just occur so much advantage at going second. So that's why we play it, since we're building this deck to basically go both first and second. So we play 4 copies of the Time to Get Serious Kirito. Next, we play 3 copies of Aria of the Starless Night Misumi. So we use this for the first effect, and this card actually came out in the 10th anniversary set. So what she does is, when she gets sent to the waiting room from stage, you can discard a card from your hand, check the top 4 cards of your deck, and add a level 1 or higher card from among them and send the rest to the waiting room. So remember, you can check up to the top 4. You don't have to immediately check 4. And the second ability, which you're not gonna do unless you're like trying to push for game late game, which is when you play an event, this card gains +1 soul until the end of the turn. So this allows you to turn this into a 2 soul beater. So we play 3 copies of that. Next, we play 3 copies of Informant Argo the Rat. So we play this because this is the new brainstorm that we get in the 10th anniversary, but it has actually 3 really good effects. The first one is you can basically play events from your hand ignoring the color restriction, and we do play an off-color event in the deck in the form of Demonic Sword Graham. So this allows you to play it ignoring the color restriction, and when you place a climax, give a character +1000. So this is essentially a better version of Married Life with the second effect, and it's your traditional salvage brainstorm, tap self salvage brainstorm. Next we play 3 copies of Sister, fond of her brother Lifa. So this is your Amagi. So if you're not familiar with what Amagi is, it's basically when you play a climax, you can pay 1 stock, check up to the top 4 cards of your deck, and add a specific trait. So for this one, it's Avatar Net, and to your hand and send the rest to waiting room. And it also has the first ability where if you activate an act ability, you can give another character plus 1k. So this allows you to make your lanes pretty beefy, both offensively and defensively, as well as help you mill through your deck to basically get you the first refresh. Next we play 2 copies of Temporary Alliance Kirito. So the first effect is not necessary, which is the on attack give a Xenon plus 1k. You basically use it for the mill run effect. So at the beginning of your opponent's climax battle step, you may mill the top card of your deck. If it's a character Avatar Net, you can run. If not, it just stays. So this allows you to just get free mill, and it's a good free early play at level 0 if you're going first. And we're only playing 2 copies, as normally when you're going first, you want to play the Misumi, since it allows you to, if they kill it, check the top 4 cards of your deck to basically get your combo pieces at level 1 ready. So we play 2 copies of the Mill Runner. Next we play 2 copies of the Comforting Moments Asuna. So this card has 2 abilities. First is the on play ability. Shuffle 2 characters from your waiting room into your deck and give this card plus 1 soul until the end of the turn. And then when it gets reversed, check the top card of your deck. If it's a level 1 or higher, shove this card into stock when it's reversed. Next we play 1 copy of the Climax Swap Spring Blooms, Rika, Suguha, and Keiko. So this is basically pay 1, discard a climax, salvage a climax. You mainly use it for that. And we play it as a 1-of since you're playing gold bar. So being able to just swap your gold bar for any pieces, or even the choices that you draw for any of the combo pieces that you need. Moving on to the level 1s, we play 4 copies of Zekin Yuki. So this is basically still one of the best filtering and plus non-interactive +1 combos in the set. So what she does is on play, she gets 500 times the total number of characters on board by the time you play this. So she can easily hit 6-5 on her own during your turn. So she's basically like Korone from Hololive, but her climax combo, which pairs with the gold bar, is a pay 1 on attack, pay 1, discard 1, search your deck for up to 2 Avatar or Net characters and add them to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So this allows you to hand filter mid attack, as well as basically search out whatever you need the next turn. So this is the reason why it's the best card, because you have optimal selectivity, since you get to search for what you need in the deck, and it allows you to hand filter any climaxes that you've drawn or triggered, like any extra gold bars that you trigger off the attack, as well as helps you pay out any climaxes that you may have blind stocked. So this is a good selective +1 combo. Moving on, we play 2 copies of Determination with Life on the Line Kirito. So what this Kirito does is when it comes into play, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an Avatar or Net character, it gains +2k, and it also has the other on death ability. When this is sent to the waiting room, you may check up to the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Avatar or Net from among them to your hand, and then discard a card. So this allows you to deck filter and hand fix, because the goal of this deck is basically to filter through your deck for playables that you will constantly play during the subsequent turns in order to set up your finish, enough stock to close the game out. And the best thing about this deck is that since the Yuki combo is a selective +1 combo, you're able to search out whatever pieces that you need, which will allow you to compress your deck, whether it is to compress it for cancels on the next turn, on your opponent's turn, or for soul triggers to push for more damage. So that's one thing I like about this deck. The goal of this deck is to just basically filter for your pieces and get whatever you need in order to close the game out. Next, we play 2 copies of SAO Survivors, Kazuto, Asuna and Kazuto. So this gets the ability during your opponent's turn. all your other avatar net characters gain a plus 1000. And the on play ability, you can check up to the top 2 cards of your deck, add 1 card from among them, send the other to the waiting room, then discard a card. So this allows you to basically hand fix for combo pieces that you may need, or even dig for a climax or an event that you need for that turn. Moving on to the level 2s, we play 1 copy of the Dicey Cafe Gilbert. So this is your anti-change backup. So your basically is a pay 3, pay 1 for the initial cost of the backup, pay 2 for this effect, which is pay 2, discard an avatar net character from your hand, and then you can send an opponent's character who's higher than their current level to the waiting room. So this is your anti-change backup. And it's a 2/5 backup. Next, we play 1 copy of the Gathering Materials Lifa. So this is what we would call a Borden counter, or a Lifa counter, where you get to, when you play this as a backup, you can check the top card of your deck, and if that card is a character that is that has the traits listed in the card text, which for this card is avatar or net, you can add that character to your hand and then discard a card. And so this is essentially a free deck filter during your opponent's turn in order to basically increase the likelihood of canceling that damage. So we play 1 copy of that. And then next we play 2 copies of the Demonic Sword Graham. So this actually is a really broken event in which you may pay 1, give a character plus 3k, and until the end of your opponent's turn, until the end of your turn, that is, your opponent cannot play events or backups. So this is a blanket anti-event, anti-backup event that allows you to basically guarantee to close the game out. The only way that your opponent can mitigate any damage is if they have climax combo, soul manipulation, or climax combo, you cannot deal auto effect damage. That's the only way you can modulate the damage. Other than that, you're pretty much, most people are going to be relying on events or backups, and this shuts it down really easy. And then now to the level 3s, we play 1 copy of Full of Vigor Yui. This is your stock swap of the deck. It also gains plus 500 power, equal to the total number of avatar net characters that are currently on the board when you play this. It also is a discard 2, stock swap your opponent, and if damage that you receive is not canceled, you can check the top card of your deck, either leave it on top or mill it. So this is your scry for your damage scry. Level 3. Next we play 2 copies of the Songstress Yuna, which is an early play heal. So the early play requirements is 2 or less climaxes, and you can play this at level 2 if you have 2 or less climaxes in the waiting room. And it's an on attack, give 1 character plus 500, equal to the total number of other characters other than this card. So basically you can give plus 2k on a full board to one of your own characters. So one play that you could do is if you see your opponent have a level 0 and you draw the clean cut, you can pump the clean cut with this Yuna and then reverse that level 0 and then draw using the clean cut effect to draw this into the back row if you have an open slot. So that way you can use this on a second attack next turn, because it's only a 9/5 body, so it's most likely going to get answered. So if you're able to pull off that combo, you can save this level 3 and just benefit off of just playing 1 less character from hand into the front stage. Next we play 2 copies of the Adventure with Everyone Lifa. So this is, when it comes into play, you can check up to the top. Basically, if you have a full board, check up to the top 5 cards of your deck and choose 1 card from among them to add it to your hand, and then send the rest to waiting room. And it's it's basically gains the ability, it also has the ability, when it reverses an opponent's character by battle, discard 2 avatar or net characters. Just discard 2 characters and clock kick it. So that's a free secondary finisher. Another secondary finisher we play is 3 copies of the Overcoming Fear Asuna from Ordinal Scale. So this actually also pairs with Mother's Rosario, and her ability is, so it's an on-play heal, and when this card attacks while you have this climax in the climax zone, you discard 2 cards from your hand and mill the top 11, and you burn X equal to the number of soul triggers revealed from the 11. So this card is just your secondary finisher if you draw into the Mother's Rosario and you happen to have one or two of these in hand and you just want to close the game out here without using the other finisher. So this is your secondary finisher depending on the situation. And then lastly, we play 4 copies of Rising Expectations Argo. So this pairs with the Choice, and her ability is so the first one is when damage dealt by this card is canceled, you can mill the top card of your deck to the waiting room, and you burn your opponent X equal to the level of that milled card. So this is essentially Musashi. And then the Climax combo, which is with this, same cost as this Asuna, you discard 2, but you're burning 3. So the reason why this combo is really good is if within this card you have potentially 2 to 3 instances of damage, and if you have multiples on the board, you're most likely going to be able to close the game with basically a total of 6 to 9 instances of damage. So being able to have that many instances of damage is really nice, and it's what makes this deck really explosive for a updated version of this set, of the first set. So this is one way you can build this. This is by all means, this is in my opinion probably the most aggressive version. There are other versions of this build that I'm going to be testing. I'm also going to be showcasing later to you guys my take on the meta SAO build, as I feel like SAO is going to be the boogeyman going into Bro, but I just wanted to show you guys this build as I feel like this one is probably the most fair because it's not running the broken level 2s, the broken cards in the set. Don't get me wrong, like SAO set 1 has a lot of broken resources, but when you compare it with 10th anniversary, it's just night and day, the difference. And this deck is what I would consider a more fair version where your opponent can have some interaction. But I catered this deck just to show you guys that there are different ways to build the deck other than just the meta SAO. If you had some of the older SAO cards, you're able to pull in some of the 10th anniversary stuff and apply it into an existing older shell of Sword Art Online. So I hope you guys like this deck profile. I will be doing a couple more in the near future. One that I'm going to be looking at is the update on my quintuplets, because the ban list did come out and I want to be able to show you guys what changes I would make with that ban list. But once again, I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Balls crack that like button. Follow me on the social media links below. And peace out, YouTube, and stay on point.